Are you recording? Yes, there we go. Great. So welcome everyone. I'm Kat van der Straten. I'm a member of the Collaborative Design Council for Transition US. I'm also in the local initiatives working group out of that group, which is working on getting input from all the local initiatives in the States, the active ones. We'll get to the inactive ones as well. And just giving them a call and asking them how they're doing and what do they need. And I've called quite some of you already, and those are wonderful conversations. So really enjoying that. We have a whole team working on that. So whoever has not had a call yet, expect one from us. I also work on my own local initiative called Transition Wayland in Massachusetts. So just a couple of instructions as we get started. We would love for you in the chat box to write your name and your affiliation, which initiative you work with, or maybe you are working with a group that you would like to mention for us. And so we can get introduced to one another. So we have started the recording. If you would rather not be recorded, then you can just turn off your video. And if you want, you can also rename yourself. If you just put your mouse in your own box, you will see 3 little dots in the right top corner, right and left, in the right top corner. And that's where you can rename yourself if you so wish. We ask that you keep yourself muted if you're not speaking, just for background noise. That always helps. I believe that is. Any questions about Zoom, or by now everyone's pretty used to using Zoom, unfortunately.
I don't know.
We will start with, a grounding exercise, and Shari will do that for us.
Okay, so my name is Shari Stuber, and I've been part of the Transition Town Media Initiative and Media PA since we started in 2009. I'm also part of the Mid-Atlantic States Transitioners Regional Hub. We've been going since about 2011. I'm an alumna of the Collaborative Design Council with Transition US, and I'm still a member of a couple of the national working groups. This one, not the local initiatives working group, and politics and policy. And I just wanted to begin by acknowledging that we are all sitting on land that was previously inhabited by the indigenous people in this country. I personally live on traditional Lenape territory, the Lenape-Hoking, in the Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey, Delaware River Valley region. And I invite all of you to learn about the history and culture of your land where you live and the people who lived there previously, and to respect their culture and their history. So now let's take a minute to become fully present to our conversation here today. Please get comfortable in your seats and feel free to close your eyes. Let's start with taking a deep breath. Slowly breathe in a full body's worth of air, fresh, rejuvenating air. Hold it for a second. And then release it along with all your tension, all the concerns from the day, all the busyness that you might have brought in here with you. Let all of that go out with your breath. And once more, breathe in fresh air. Hold it for a second and breathe out all your tensions and busyness. Now plant your feet firmly on the floor and bring your attention down through your body to your feet. Feel your feet connecting with the earth, feeling the earth's energy steady you, ground you, Don't worry if you're not standing outdoors. The earth is down there somewhere below you. So just connect with it. And take a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now pull that deep, grounded earth energy up through your body. Have it fill up all your cells, all the way up to the top of your head. Let it fill your mind with peace, joy, and light. Let this be what you bring to our discussion here today. One more breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. And let's begin. Thank you. Over to you, Kat.
Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, I'm going to share the screen. We have a little slideshow that we will share with you as well for to return to later on if you would like to. So this is the third conversation in a series of strategic calls that are part of our From What Is to What If campaign, the transitions from What Is to What If campaign. And these conversations in these calls will help inform and guide a new transformative strategy for Transition US and the transition movement here in the US. And the theme for this call is strengthening the Grassroots Transition Network. And we will focus on local initiatives this evening. How can we support them, connect with them, and support connections among them? So learnings from surveys and interviews earlier this year can be found in the strategic planning input paper. And I believe Marissa shared a link to that with you in an earlier email, and it's also on the website, but it is repeated here. And there's a couple of pages in there that pertain especially to this evening's topic. The Local Initiatives Working Group is at the moment doing calls, as I said earlier, with all the active local initiatives in the States to gather even more information. So this is today's agenda. We'll follow this agenda quite well. You can, by the way, always access this slideshow while we do this, and I will share that with you in the chat, a link with you in the chat later on. Shari, over to you.
Okay. So those of you who have been or are currently in a transition initiative know that there's many challenges to managing one. We have a great framework for how to create and run an initiative with the Transition Handbook and the Essential Guide to Transition, both great books. But there are many day-to-day problems to deal with, one of which can cause your transition to flounder. It could be people issues like how to deal with a difficult team member, how to attract and engage new members, how to communicate the transition message clearly to diverse audiences, how to run effective meetings, or the technical difficulties of setting up websites and Facebook pages, graphic design and event promotion, financial issues such as how to fundraise, whether to become a 501c3 or even how to set up a bank account. These skill sets involved in having your transition initiative be successful can seem overwhelming. The good news is that you're not alone. We just lost the slideshow, is that?
Yes, because I had to put in the link.
Oh, I got it. Okay, so I had to it's coming, okay.
It's coming back.
See, there's any number of technical difficulties you need to deal with here. So tonight's call is going to focus on the well-being of local transition initiatives in the US and what kind of support you might need to empower you in your work. We're going to be going over the research that Kat mentioned from the surveys and interviews. and look at some of the main ideas that came up in that research done by Transition US. And then we'll put you in breakout rooms to talk about your own challenges and successes. What has worked for you, what you've struggled with, and what kinds of things you'd like help with, what kinds of help might work best for you. And then we'll come back and report on the key issues that you explored. Okay, so next slide, Kat. We'll start with some of the needs identified by these surveys. So we've broken them into 7 main categories. The first one being facilitating communication. So there was an interest in facilitating communication between the transition initiatives and the national hub, creating a stronger sense of belonging to a network. They also wanted to have better communication between the initiatives, meeting and learning from each other, and in national gatherings or maybe even more regional ones. Having opportunities to network with the national working group through the national working groups, and possibly cohorts of transition initiatives that are interested in certain projects, such as repair cafes or solarized campaigns. And possibly even bioregional groups. There was some suggestion of starting a speakers bureau of transition leaders who could go to different towns and speak about transition and create a conversation there. And possibly even starting a national campaign around some goal, coordinating efforts with other national organizations or governmental groups to magnify our voice. Next slide. Another topic was training and mentoring local initiatives. We can do this through webinars or multi-session courses that would go deeper into a given topic. Could help with strategizing what projects to take on, how to set achievable goals and measure success. Some practical how-tos and case studies for projects that have succeeded well in some transition towns. And even one-on-one mentorship of transition towns, especially when they're just starting out. Another issue was training for steering group members, possibly in how to run better meetings and so on. Outreach and messaging was another category. It was suggested that templates for handouts and flyers would be really useful, to standardize our message. We also, there's a lot of interest in communicating the transition message in a simple and clear way. Maybe having a basic what is transition presentation that we all could use in our events, and to talk to different groups. Also, how to promote our events and projects in a way that communicates the transition message. And finally, help with setting up websites, social media platforms, Facebook pages, Instagram, and short videos to get our message across. And then there's another category was financial issues that we all face, whether we should become a 501c3 or get a fiscal sponsor, how to fundraise effectively, grant writing skills was another important issue. Getting legal advice and how to get insurance that we might need. how to do our financial management, donor, volunteer, and data management. And finally, how to, whether to hire interns or have paid positions or just all volunteer. So a lot of pros and cons with each of those things. Group dynamics is another very important issue with transition towns. Things like how to run effective meetings, how to deal with problem volunteers, how to make decisions as a group, whether to use consensus or voting or some kind of method like sociocracy. How to develop leadership in the group to develop the members into taking on more leadership roles. How to avoid burnout, and how to engage youth and learn from our elders. And finally, the last two topics. One is successful collaboration with our local nonprofits and governmental groups to have bigger impact, to scale up our efforts. How to work on and promote changes to local ordinances and policies to have more sustainable municipalities. Setting up possible demonstration centers such as permaculture, homesteading, reskilling, things of that nature. Using other groups and individuals who have skills that would be handy in those areas. And then finally, incorporating key transition concepts in our work, such as inner transition, which helps people deal with the trauma and grief we feel about the state of the world that we're living in. Reconomy, which is about creating a just and equitable economy that supports people in jobs that help the environment and our social causes. Emergency preparedness to help our communities adapt to the inevitable crises we're facing already. And social justice to support Indigenous people and people of color and include them in our work. So many of the kinds of support that was brought out in the survey results already exist with Transition US, but perhaps the way to access them isn't entirely obvious, or there may be obstacles to accessing them. So that's something that we may want to address as well. So that covers all the issues that came out in the strategic paper, the input paper. So now we want to move to the questions and to the breakout rooms where we can discuss these on our own. Yeah. So I'm turning it back to you, Kat.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot, and again, you can click on that link in the chat, and you can revisit the slideshow and see them again, especially as we discuss these in the breakout rooms. So we will move to breakout rooms. I think there will be 4 of you in each, and we will discuss 2 questions. One after the other would be the easiest, but you can mix them up if your group decides to do so. You will have 15 minutes for each question. And the first one is this one. And actually, this is now hiding my screen. There we go. So the first question will be, how does this feedback resonate with you? And what is most urgent for you? And of course, what is missing? And then the second question will be, of the ideas and needs that were shared, how would you implement them on the local level? what would be the local challenges and what would help you overcome them. So you will stay in one room and discuss both of these questions. We will let you know at the 15-minute mark if you discuss them separately to switch to the next one. And we will also give you a little warning a minute before the end of the last breakout room. And we would like you to have one note taker in your group. You can assign that person amongst you. And there is a document here that where you can keep those notes. And it's quite helpful for us if you would put them there, because we gather, of course, a lot of information that way. I'm going to paste the link to that document in the chat right now.
Might be handy if you open the document before you go into the breakout room, because you may lose the chat when you go into the separate rooms. You should also probably open up the slideshow if you want to refer to some of the things that we covered.
So yeah, and the person that you pick to take notes could also be then the facilitator. Could also be the one who then, after the breakout rooms close, help us in the harvest round to harvest all this information, and then we'll have a discussion. There we go. Are there any questions about what's going to happen now?
I don't know if I'm going to be the note taker, but I don't see the link now.
Oh, in the chat?
In the chat. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So the chat has the document for the notes, and also, oh, it was already there. Fantastic. Thank you, Marissa. And it also has a link to the slideshow with the list of already identified needs. So I think over to Don to whisk us away.
So I think we're going to have 5 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3. And I will send a broadcast message after 15 minutes when it's time to switch over to the second question. So you should just see a button pop up on your screen in a moment. And you click on that and you'll be whisked away to your breakout.